lots of you know what in here. It's warm. I have a sweater on, but you know. But we gotta look cute for Halloween. I mean, it's not really Halloween, but this is the last we will be listing together before Halloween. Don't mind me. I'm just over here moving some lights around. Hello, friends. Hello, hello. Oh, I think we're here. We are. Oh, I don't know. It's same, crazy show, different day, different night, whatever it is. Hello, my friends. Hello. Then I feel like I need to bust out Lionel Richie wise, right? Anyhow, hello, friends. Happy Friday. Oh my goodness, we're doing a Friday, right? We are doing a Friday. Normally, my friend Vicky does Friday Night Live. And she is teaching. She loves color this weekend. Normally we do Saturdays, or some weeknights, right? As I've been traveling a lot. So originally we were planning on, planning on listing on Saturday, which would be tomorrow, the 26th. And Nick and I decided to do one last trip in Harvey. The RV, and we're actually going to go for a week. We're going to Montana, which is crazy because this time of year it's going to be cold, but that's okay. We are going to, we're going to try, we haven't done this before. We're going to try to have it be a little bit of a working trip. So we will be working on the road. We'll see how that goes. So anyhow, figured might as well. I didn't want to miss this, right? Didn't want to miss our listing. And so I decided to move. Well, it was going to be canceled tomorrow, but I thought, no, let's do it Friday night. So here we are. So welcome to you. Hello. I see lots of fun friends in the chat. So we'll say hello in a sec. But before I do that, we just have to set one thing straight. Okay, this is very controversial, and we're going to set the record straight. And if you don't agree with me, then guess what? You just can't be here. Okay, you just can't be here. Do you see what that says? Team Candy Corn. Team Candy Corn. All right. We're not friends if you're not on Team Candy Corn. Not a fun shirt. My friends Brooke and Taylor, mother-daughter that live here in Utah, that are scrapbookers, they gave that to me, a huge basket of candy corn things. They gave that to me at the Simple Stories retreat. So I have to get all the use out of Team Candy Corn t-shirt. Well, I can, right? Anyhow, yes, Team Candy Corn. It is Friday, the 25th of October. So we will not be listing again prior to Halloween. So this is kind of our, Halloween listing session, even though we're not listing anything about Halloween. We listed Halloween a little bit earlier this month, but figured we might as well sport the Halloween gear. And then also, this is the last time you'll see my little Halloween setup here, although I did add a couple things. I bought a few new things. These two things were so cute. Those are little metal buckets, and that little star thing. That little star thing will also work in December. So you may, hopefully next time you see me, this will all be decorated for Christmas for November and December. Okay, friends, so hello. If you are new here, hello. My name is Lael Kankar, and I normally say when we're on Saturdays, when I'm not traveling, we're here listing, but now it's kind of just whenever it happens, right? The easiest way to know when I will be here is either to go to laelbymail.com and go to the blog. The listing schedule is always there. The Lael by Mail Facebook page, it is pinned to the top. Let's just adjust that again. In the Lael by Mail Facebook group, it is pinned to the top. So every once in a while, like this week, had to change the schedule a little bit, but that's always the best way to know. Anyhow. So when I'm not traveling, let's just say that oftentimes we are here on my YouTube channel and we're doing what I like to call creative listing. And what I mean by that, a couple days in advance, I, on the blog, publish listing topics. And when we get together, I pull out lots of different product and I make a list. But as I make the list, I am playing and I am having fun and I am being creative and I am getting that bit of creativity in that I need. My soul craves, right? I have to have it. And because kind of this whole crafting, I guess, is my business, a lot of times I am crafting because I have to, not because I want to, right? I know for some of you are like, what does that even mean? Like crafting should be crafting. It should always be awesome. But when it's your job and your business, sometimes it's, you just got to do it. And earlier today, that was happening. I had to, before we left town, get a project designed and photographed and instructions written. And because I was down to the wire, that's kind of how I operate sometimes, because I was down to the wire, it felt forced. So when we're here together and we're playing, it is not forced for me at all. It is very much a creative play, and we're just playing. So we have 3 lists that we will do tonight. We will definitely get all 3 started. We should get 2 done. We may or may not get the 3rd finished, but we should have enough time to start it. So when we are listing, I call it, well, we're telling our story, right? So tonight, one of our list topics is favorite childhood memories. And so as I am listing about that and decorating and adding all kinds of fun things, I'm telling a story. I'm telling a story about my childhood and things that I remember very fondly. So I'm telling a story that I may have never told before, or maybe I've told it before, but I'm telling it in a different way. So for me, when I'm listing, it really is all about telling my own personal story. A lot of times we're making little time capsules. Another list for this evening is called Then and Now. So I'll be going back 4 years and talking about then, and then comparing that to current time now. So it's kind of a mini time capsule looking back and looking to current time today. So just some ideas of what we're doing tonight and what we do here when we're listing. Now, some of you list right along with me, which I love. Some of you are working on other projects. Some of you are just working. You are doing what you do with your family. You're cooking, you're cleaning, you're doing your job, whatever it is. But in a lot of cases, you are here because you just want to be here, which I love so much. In a lot of cases, I may just be keeping you company, right? It may be a Friday night and you're unwinding from work, or you're unwinding from a cat, you're unwinding from just a long week, and you just want some company, and here I am to keep you company. Because sometimes that's what I do. Sometimes if I need company, I'll put a YouTube video on, generally not my own. Okay, never my own. And then I'm just doing whatever in the background, and I love that company. But some of you have been listing with me for about 4.5 years now. Mimi, if Mimi is here, Mimi, I can't remember if I saw this in an email or if it was a comment that you left on one of the videos, maybe a video from last week, where you said you have done every single list with me in the last 4.5 years, which that like blew my mind. I just think that's so cool, and I love that so much for you. All right, so anyhow, that is our plan tonight. We will be working on some creative lists, and once we talk about a couple of housekeeping items, I'll flip the camera, change all the lights, and we'll get going. But before I do that, I want to pop in the chat and say hello. So let me pop in and say hello. One thing very quickly, as I am working, I will be using lots of different products. I'll be using products that are some of my own Lail by Mail manufactured products, and then also products from other companies or other manufacturers. You will see a link in the description box of the video below that will take you to a page on my website that says what I'm using. So if you see I'm using something and you're like, what is she using? Then you can go there. But I also have someone joining me this evening, and I saw her pop in already. So I want to say hello and welcome to my friend Amy Sonneman. Some of you have heard me talk about Amy before in the past. Amy works very closely with me. She is my right hand. Well, I have several right hands. I have lots of right hands. I have several right hands, but Amy does a lot of product development with me and sourcing. So Amy is joining us tonight. We're going to kind of see how this goes, but she is joining us in the chat, and as I'm using different products, she's going to pop links directly in the chat. So if you're like, oh my gosh, she just used that tape runner or that die cut machine. What is that? Where did she get that? You can click the link that Amy pops in, and then we'll just make it super easy for you to shop if you want to shop. Okay, so I see Amy. Hello, Amy. Hi, Lisa. Hello, Michelle. Wanda. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Elise. Nice to see you. Carrie, anybody else here for day 3? Okay, Carrie, you deserve like a medal, my friend. What Carrie means by that is this is the 3rd thing I have done this week, third day in a row. Wednesday night, we did my Gratitude Traveler's Notebook Project Kit. So for those people that purchased the Gratitude Traveler's Notebook Project Kit, we had class here. Now it's a private class for those people that buy the kit, but Carrie was there, so we did that. Last night, which was Thursday night, we did class for the November, December. Well, the November portion of the November, December Traveler's Notebook Kit. So we did that class last night, and then here we are again tonight. So yes, some of you may be joining me for the third night in a row, which bless your little ears. They're probably so tired of hearing my voice. I love that, Carrie. I love it. Hi, Anne. Anne said, yes, it's a great way to start the weekend. Yeah, for me too. Absolutely. Ms. L said this will be a fun Friday for sure. Hello, Elizabeth. Nice to see you. Hi, Tabitha. Happy Friday night. Nancy, Patricia, Becky. Hello, hello from Minnesota. Becky said cute earrings. Thank you. This is kind of just a funny, quick little story about those. Some of you know that my mother broke her hip earlier this month. And I spent quite a bit of time at the hospital, and before surgery, I think. Before she went into surgery, on my way into the hospital, I stopped at the gift shop at the hospital and bought some flowers and took them up to her room. And of course, they had a wonderful display right at the counter. The gift shop in the hospital had these cute earrings. So I'm like, well, I need those. So yes, those are kind of fun. Lisa said it's day 2 for her. She was here Wednesday and also tonight. Nice to see you again, Lisa. Hello, Peggy from Wisconsin. Trisha, nice to see you, my friend. Hello, Michelle. She said she loves the little ghosties. Jolene. Hello, Cherie. She's from Atlanta checking in. Yeah, Amy said happy Ghouls Day. Yes, happy Ghouls Day. We'll kind of tie or get together in with Halloween. Hello, Gerda. Nice to see you. Lori is in Salt Lake City. Lori, Salt Lake. I'm totally drawing a blank. You're not from Salt Lake, are you? You just here? I don't know. Lisa said she's glad she didn't have to choose between Lael or Vicky. I love that. Colleen, hello, Colleen from Toronto. Colleen, we missed you last Thursday. Well, we miss you always. We missed you last Thursday because guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to plug in. So about 2.5 hours in, my phone lost power because it can only stream for so long without having any power. So always miss you, but definitely missed you last Thursday. Hello, Jolene. Let's see. Jolene loves candy corn. Yep, Jolene's my friend today. Nancy said happy listing. Hello, Pam Soames. Nice to see you. She said hip hip hooray for candy corn. Here's the deal, my friends. If you don't like it, just pretend like you do. Oh, hello, Reggie. Reggie's hopping in, I guess, for a little. He wants to say hello. Hi, Reg. Say hi. Hi, friends. Okay, now go get in your bucket. Let's hope he doesn't decide he wants to walk across all of this. Okay, Lisa said she's sad. I missed something, Lisa. I missed. Hi, Robin. Cindy's working, but she's listening. I love it. Candy corn mixed with peanuts. Yes, that is the key. Candy corn mixed with peanuts is like you've never had anything like it. So if you don't like candy corn, give that a shot. Hello, Joy Ellen. Nice to see you. April made it live. I love it. Miss Waddell, nice to see you. Leah, hello. Cardinals girl rooting for, I can't read. I don't know what that says. To my Edmund. I'm missing something there, Leah. April is an OG lister. I love it. April's been with us for a while. Joy Ellen also since 2020. You guys, is that crazy? One of the lists that I said we'll be doing tonight is a then and now, and I'm going back to 2020 for the then, so that'll be kind of a fun comparison. Let's see. Hi, Dina from Kettering, Ohio. Jody from Virginia Beach. Hello. Jolene got her order yesterday. I love that. Nancy missed a couple of lives. She was in vacation in Pennsylvania for her brother's birthday. Oh, how fun. How fun. Hi, Lindsay H. Lisa Remley. Lisa Remley Washburn. Your name is really familiar. You know why? Because right before we started, I drew a giveaway from our last listing session, and might as well cut to that right now. Lisa, you were the random lucky winner. Lisa had left a comment on last Thursday's List With Me video. And you guys know when I do giveaways every time that we're together. And Lisa left a comment and I randomly drew her name. Lisa gets this giant like pack bundle assortment from the True Colors collection. So Lisa, check your email. Congratulations. Check your email. Yes, I just, when I saw your name pop up, that was so fun. Wanda brought up a good point. So let's talk about that for a second. She said, I don't do all the lists because they don't all apply to me. And totally, right? Absolutely. So one of our lists tonight is favorite childhood memories. And you know what? Maybe you did not have a good childhood. And you know what? That's okay. Doesn't mean that you can't join us in our listing. You can just switch it up. Maybe it's some of your favorite adult memories, or maybe it's some of your favorite high school memories or college memories, or being a newlywed memory, or working at your favorite job memory. So there's lots of ways that you can take our list topics and kind of mix it up if you need, if something doesn't apply to you, so you can still participate. I try to keep things fairly neutral-ish so that they would work for most people, but there are definitely times when things wouldn't work for you. So either skip it or just switch it up a little bit. Hello, Christy. Nice to see you. Christy in California. You and Pam, are you and Pam ever together, Christy, when you guys are here? I'm just curious. Hello, Gina. Okay, you guys, I mean, here, I could just probably sit here and read names and we could just chit chat and be social all night long, but you know what? We won't do that because I don't know about you, but I'd like to have some creative plays. So let's do that. If somehow I did not get through all the comments, so if somehow I missed, I'm just kind of looking still. If somehow I missed your comment and it's something that you would like me to see, once I rotate the camera, the best bet is if you, in the chat, type it again and put it in all uppercase. It's a lot easier for me to see that way once we get rolling. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, what am I doing? I'm going to turn off the overhead lights. I am going to rotate the camera and readjust the studio lights, and then we'll be ready to play. Well, I better rotate the camera first because those lights are a little bright. And I'm a little bit old for being a deer in the headlights like that. Nobody wants to see that those, not fluorescent lights. They're not fluorescent, but they are, I don't know, what's the word for those? Whatever. They're really bright lights that are not kind to older folk. You know what I mean. The only thing that could be worse if we had like a 10 or 20 times magnifier on my face. Colleen, yes, thank you. Not halogen. I don't remember, not Elise, but something kind of like that. Does it start with an L? I don't know. Anyhow, they're super bright lights. They're super bright lights that are really nice when it's getting darker outside. So they, LED lights, thank you. LED lights, yes. LED lights, they're like my brights. The brights of the car are on, Joy Ellen. All right, I'm gonna take off my sweater now because it was cute and it was orange and white striped and now it's hot. All right, so what we should talk about, why don't we just talk about prizes right off the bat? We already announced one of last week's winners, and that was Lisa Remley Washburn. So normally in the past, I usually do 2 or 3 giveaways, and generally they are what I call after party prizes, meaning you leave a comment on the video when it's over, not in the chat, and then before we're together again, listing, I draw one random lucky comment from the video that was left, or from the comments that were left, and that person wins a prize. The last couple of times, I have switched that up a little bit, and I have been doing some live prizes. So tonight, we will do a live prize. We will also have an after party prize. Live prizes really quickly. The way you participate if you're watching live is through the chat. So as we get going, at one point, I will stop and say, okay, friends, in the next 5 minutes, I am going to draw one random lucky person in the chat to win a prize. And I will tell you, it's another really good prize tonight, friends. Really good prize. All right, so, I mean, all prizes are good, right? All prizes are good, but this one's a really good one. Has something to do with Halloween. All right, so let's take a look at what we did when we were together last. We are, let's see, Robin. Hello, Robin. She said, I have followed for years, but have never interacted. Might as well jump in. Hi, Robin. I am proud of you. Sometimes that's hard, right? Because when you're in a chat and you feel like you don't maybe really know people, sometimes it's hard to like put yourself out there. So, Robin, welcome. Actually, I don't need to say welcome because it sounds like you've been for a while, but you're interacting. So I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Live prizes like a bunny. Yes. No, I'm not giving away. I'm not giving away any live prizes. Actually, I have a pumpkin and a bat that I will be giving away. A live pumpkin and a live bat. No, just kidding. Okay. So, what we're going to do, we're going to start off by looking at the lists that we did together last Thursday. So we did 3 lists last Thursday. Might as well start with this one, even though we didn't do this one last Thursday. We did this the time before that. But because it's almost Halloween, this was the Halloween list that we did this year. Just some of my favorite things about Halloween. And we had a little bit of fun adding a page in between my spread with a little photo. Or a little, I guess, series of 4 photos. So that was the first list that we did. Well, not the first one. I am skipping. We did just 2 lists last time. The first list that we did was this one. What I love about fall in Utah. With this guy, I did a full-size photo. I don't do that very often. What's that commercial? I don't drink beer, but when I do, I drink Dos Equis or whatever that, the guy. I don't do a full-size video very often, but when I do a full-size video, I always just love, love, love the look. So I did a full-size video, I did a full-size photo. So I live in Utah. We experience all 4 seasons, and the fall in Utah is absolutely incredible. I will tell you, I haven't been to the East Coast during the fall. It's on my bucket list, but I have to think that the leaves that we get in Utah, northern Utah, could really rival back east. But one of these days I'll know because we'll go back east and look at the leaves. Anyhow, this was a photo that I took on a drive that Nick and I did a couple of Fridays ago. I mean, those are aspen trees. So aspens are a little bit different than maybe your typical fall colors in that they get very yellow and golden. They never turn red. All right, so that was that side. On this side, I used the Simple Stories Cider and Donuts collection. Used pattern paper, and that pattern paper just worked so well. I mean, look at it, almost looks like it just moves right over into that photo. And we used the Tally Alpha stamp set. So that one was a lot of fun. And it was just what I love about fall in Utah. Now, what we talked about when we do a list like that is some of you do not have fall where you live. Or some of you live in the southern hemisphere. And so you may call it autumn, but right now you're not in fall. You are in spring. So you can always switch up whatever our list topic is to make it work for you. Maybe you really don't like fall, so it's what you dislike about fall in wherever it is that you live. Hello, Elizabeth. Elizabeth said, yes, it's spring down here. So she's down under. She is down under. All right, so that was that list. Our second list that we did, we had so much fun with this one. This was basically guess the movie. So we talked about movie quotes. All right, so guess the movie. So over here on this side, I had different movie quotes, like have fun storming the castle. We had a lot of fun. You guys in the chat kind of piped in too on some of your favorite movie quotes. So all I did over here was list the movie quote. Then over here, we have a little interactive thing happening here. Because it's kind of a guess the movie, it's almost like when you do a crossword puzzle, the answers are like in the back of the magazine, or I don't know, wherever it is you're doing the crossword puzzle. The answers are in the back, but you can't really have them, the answers to the movies, quotes, right next to you. So it's a little hidden over here. So I have not added yet the movies that those are from, but we kind of got set up for that. Here we have this little door. I call these a dog door. So hinges at the top, opens from the bottom. So there's a little door. And then I did another door on top of that, like that. So I have all kinds of room here. Now I'll just add white cardstock there, and then right here. So for each one, Inconceivable and Had Fun Storming the Castle and Hello, My Name is Inigo Montoya, You Killed My Father, Prepare to Die. All those are from the same movie, Princess Bride. So anyhow, I will, in order that I have the quotes here, write the name of the movies there. And that one, we use True Colors. So those were the two lists that we did when we were together last week. All right. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And it was fun when you guys were just piping in the chat too, because it's always fun to kind of, some of ours were the same. I could tell some of you, I'd be your best friend. We'd be best friends in real life. Well, okay, this is real life, but you know what I mean. We'd be best friends because so many of the movie quotes were the same. All right, so let's go ahead and get going on our first list. Our first list is way overdue. Like, I can't even tell you how overdue it is. It is in the news. We typically do this type of list on a monthly basis. And it all started back in, I guess, August of 2020. So more than 4 years ago, when I started doing a list called About Last Month. So About Last Month is when I add photos and basically just do a run-on list of things that happened in my world for the month. Originally, back in August of 2020, when we started doing that, I was combining in the news, so news things like local news, news in the US, world news. I was doing that in with my About Last Month, and it just got to be too much. I couldn't fit everything. So after not long, probably about 6 months, we started breaking out in the news to a separate list. Now, sometimes we get behind. August and September and October typically are very, very, very heavy travel months for me, for my business, because I'm traveling and teaching in person. So we have not done an August in the news. We have not done a September in the news, and October is almost over, right? So we'll be set for next month. I already have in the news for October planned for next month. But tonight we are going to do in the news August and September in the same list or in the same spread. We have done this once before where I did it in the same spread. Usually when I start out with a photo. So this is a photo that I now printed because in the news, we've had it on our list to do over the last couple of weeks, and we just kept pushing it forward. But I printed this photo. This is a 5x7 photo. So don't get distracted right now with all of those little photos on the front. This is a 5x7 photo. I use the Epson PictureMate PM400 printer. Lots of you guys use that printer. It's an amazing little power horse. It prints 3.5x5s, 4x6s, and 5x7s. What's really awesome about that printer, and if you're looking at that printer, Amy just popped the link in the chat. I love that. Thank you, Amy. Also to the paper I use, because I get that question a lot too, what kind of paper I use. Anyhow, the power behind that printer is the app, the free app that goes with it, and it's called the Epson Creative Print. The Epson Creative Print has kind of pre-configured templates, and this would be one of the many, many, many pre-configured templates. What I mean by that is basically this pre-configured template that I picked looked like, let's see, this, right? So I just picked that template when I went in there and I said, that's what I want my photo to look like. And then through that app, you give it access to the camera roll on your phone, and then you're just pushing photos into each of those spots and you print it. So that is how I printed that. None of these are my photos, okay? All of these I pulled from Google because generally anything that's in the news, I am not going to have those photos, all right? So sometimes I will use the photos this way, just one photo. Other times I might cut this in half. So if I were to cut that in half, it would look like, let me just get a piece of white cardstock out here. If I cut that in half, sometimes it looks just like a photo strip, like a photo booth strip, right? Zen Girls just asked a question, do I buy 5x7 paper or cut up 8.5 by 11? I cut up, or excuse me, I 5x7 and 4x6. Generally, that's what I'm using is 5x7 and 4x6. So I buy the 5x7 and 4x6. Way easier. I think it's just way easier. You could buy 8.5x11 and then cut it into the other sizes, but I think it's just easier to buy the size that you need. Colleen, does the app only work with the Epson PictureMate? It does not, Colleen, but it only works with Epson printers. So if you are looking for an app that would help you do something like that, Project Life is another app that's free that you can do something like that. I know others of you use other apps that can kind of give you that same effect if you have a different printer. If anyone uses something that's a different app with just whatever printer that you have, feel free to pop that in the chat. All right. So sometimes I will cut it in half like that, and then it's kind of a fun photo booth strip. Other times I may just want little tiny photos. So if I want little tiny photos, I basically print this one photo out and then just come in and cut all of those little photos out. So I'd have small individual photos. All right. One thing as we talk about in the news, news, especially this time of year in the United States, can be extremely polarizing, okay? Extremely polarizing, very political. And when I say political, I mean literally and figuratively. So when we are doing an in the news list, I always ask that in the chat, we refrain from any kind of commentary related to any kind of news. I won't give you my commentary as I am just making a list of news events. And I ask that you guys don't give commentary either, because we get all of that political commentary everywhere, every day. So I know we don't come here. To talk about political commentary. So when I sit down to do an in the news list, I have gathered my news items throughout the month. I have a note that I just keep kind of a running note on my phone. And anytime throughout the month that I see something that is newsworthy, I will add it to the list on my phone so that when I do sit down to do this, I'm not racking my brain or trying to Google all the things that happened in a particular month. That's really hard to do, by the way. It's not as easy as you would think to Google newsworthy events that happened in August. It will not give you a summary of what happened in August. It'll tell you day by day, and it's much more difficult to find. On the Mail by Mail Facebook group, I have pinned to the top a list of probably 10 different news sources, and they go from left to right. So very conservative, very liberal, and then in the center. So those would be just different ideas for you if you wanted to subscribe to those emails. I have no affiliation with those whatsoever. Some I subscribe to, some I don't. Doesn't matter which ones I subscribe to, right? But in a lot of cases, that's how I am getting my news to go on my list. I get just an email once a day and I go, oh yeah, that's newsworthy. That's what I want on my list. That's what I want on my list. Okay. Lisa said, yes, she comes here to escape from it. Yeah, I think a lot of us, Lisa. I'm right there with you. Okay. So anyhow, that's kind of what I'm doing to both print my photos, and then also where I am getting my news items. But also like the Today Show. I watch the Today Show. I listen to the Today Show when I'm getting ready in the morning. And so, lots of different places that I'm getting my news items. All right, so here we go. What I've done here, the left side, August news related items, the right side, September news related items. So for example, in August of this year, oh my gosh, how did I Kamala Harris, thank you. How did I forget that name? It's something in the US that we hear very often these days in the news. She accepted the Democratic presidential nomination. All right, so that's something that happened in August. AT&T had a hugely significant outage in the month of August. A number of prisoners, there was a big prisoner exchange with Russia that happened in August. And then 2024 was the hottest year in August, just the records we keep hitting and over. And then we jump into September. So I've split it this way for August and September, and over here, I'll be splitting my list for August and September. All right, so now let's get moving. I need to trim this photo just a tad. The inserts that I use are standard wide. So the Traveler's Notebook inserts are standard wide. They are 5 inches wide by 8¼ inches tall. All right, so 5 by 8¼ My photo is 5 by 7. I need to trim the width just a little bit. The reason I need to trim the width is even though this is 5 and this is 5, you lose a little bit from the staples, right? You use a little bit from the staples. So I just need to narrow this down a little bit. So let's see. We'll just take a little bit off of both of those edges. Oh my heavens! I need to turn on the fan. It's feeling a little toasty. A little toasty. It shouldn't be. I think it's probably about, I don't know, maybe 55 degrees out. We've hit fall in Utah. Finally, finally. All right, so this guy will go right about here. I'm gonna let that just sit there for a minute. Actually, I'll let it sit over to the side as I start to get ready for the right side. Now, I had pulled out my big little storage pouch here of some of Vicky's product, Vicky Bouton's product. These are products from her mixed media collection. Now, they are not, really none of them have to do with mixed media. When I say mixed media, I mean nothing is wet. There's no medium, there's no gesso or anything like that we're playing with. But the paper pad, I pulled this paper from the 12 by 12 paper pad. And if you've been with me for any amount of time, you know I rarely use a 12 by 12 paper. But with this collection that Vicky did, or this compilation of collections, I should say, there was only a 12 by 12 pad. She didn't do a 6 by 8. What's really fun about this one, if you are a Vicky fan, this is a compilation of her favorites from many, many, many of her collections, all right? So you get a little bit of all the things. And if you know Vicky, all the things it's a Vicky thing, right? All the things. So I was super excited when she came out with that. All right, so what I thought I would do, I thought I might take this paper and use kind of a little half circle over here. And I don't know if it would be this side or if it would be this one. I always struggle with color combinations when it comes to in the news because a lot of things that hit my radar in the news have to do with politics. And in a lot of cases, well, really in general, you're seeing a lot of blue and a lot of red here, even with Tupperware. Tupperware in September filed for bankruptcy, so there's a lot of blue and red. And blue and red aren't generally colors that I combine together. I don't use red a lot. So a lot of times I kind of struggle with what I want to use over here. So I thought, well, maybe if I pulled in kind of one of these half circles, then it might work. It might help to just pull together a little bit more color, right? So I think what I will do, let's start to cut this up. We need to narrow it, right? We need to narrow it down quite a bit because we are working in, what's that, honey? What is that?
Fountain drink.
A fountain drink. What kind of fountain drink?
I would like to tell you that it's Coke Zero, but the Coke Zero wasn't working.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, Nick just brought me a fountain drink, so that's nice. Diet Coke, that's okay, it works. Thank you, thank you. Okay. I have a long night ahead of me. Well, we're playing now, but I am not packed. We're going to be gone for a week, and I am not packed, and I have apologized profusely to my husband so many times today because I didn't help at all. He was getting Harvey ready to go. Harvey's our RV. Hello, Arletta. Arletta said, hi, Lael. I think this is my first time catching you live. Well, welcome. Arletta ordered the new mini Doodlebug albums from me. She's excited to get them. Do you have any plans for a video using them? So Arletta, yes, I actually already used one in my October 31st mini book project kit. And you know what? I just might as well, let's just dive right in when it comes to The live prize that we're going to do tonight, you guys. Remember I said it was a good one. Well, guess what it is? It is that it's a project kit. I'm going to give one of these away tonight. So it is the October 31st mini book project kit. So the kit plus the album, that's one of Doodlebug's brand new 6x8 mini albums. If you haven't seen those are amazing. But anyhow, so the way that this works, friends, the way the live prizes work is that you leave a comment in the chat. All right, you leave a comment in the chat. And in a bit, I will stop what I'm doing. I will scroll up in the chat, and wherever my finger stops, that person will win. All right, so, just chat amongst yourselves for a bit. All right, so I need to trim this down. When I am using pattern paper as the base in one of my lists, for example, like this, like that pink piece, I am trimming it down to 4 3/4 by 8. So that way I have a nice little white border all around the page. So 4 3/4 by 8. So let's see what we get here. If I trim there, let's just do it. That's 4 3/4. Now to get to 8, I need to trim probably 2 inches off the top and 2 inches off the bottom, right? That would give me a pretty even 8. And I want to trim a little bit off both the top and the bottom so that it looks, even. I don't want it to necessarily be opsided. Louisa, we are going up to Montana. Louisa asked where we're going in Harvey. We're going up to Montana. We're going with some of our friends, another couple, and their daughter recently moved up there. She's working at like a dude ranch. And so they would like to see her. And Nick and I said, well, we'll tag along with you. That sounds like fun. All right, where is my corner rounder? Ooh, I think I have a hair in my eye. That is going to drive me crazy. Okay. Ooh, I hope that goes away. Yes, so, and we are not staying at the Dude Ranch. We are staying in our RVs in an RV park. Now, normally we don't do RV parks when we go, and nothing wrong with that. That's just not us. Generally, we like to boondock. We like to go out in the middle of nowhere where we have no hookups or anything like that. But this time, because it's cold, we're going to stay in an RV park where we have hookups. Hookups meaning like running water. Now, we normally have running water, but it will be too cold, so that running water will freeze if you don't have heat and power and all that. Okay, all right. So this is going to be the left side. Now, I am going to use a couple of different stamp sets. I am using In the News, and I am using In the News too. And I am going to use the library card stamp set, and I'm going to use a die, metal die. Did I get that out yet? Oh, it should be. Uh-huh. All right, let me grab the die here. I've just turned around, so I haven't left you. I have just turned around in my drawer. I am looking for the die. If I was that die, where would I be? I think I would be maybe in the, hold on friends, sorry, I'm still here. I just have to find where that die is. I need the die, the typewriter die. Oh, here it is. I was going to say, I've been storing the dies with their stamp, the stamp right here. There's 2 stamps that have the typewriter die, all right? So the Just My Type stamp has a typewriter, and then the In the News, the original In the News also has the typewriter. So here is the die. That's what I was looking for. As I am using these things, Amy is popping in the chat links to those products. So it's really easy for you to find if you're like, oh, I want to take a closer look at that. All right, so I'm going to grab that In the News stamp set, and I am going to pull out that typewriter. And we will stamp that, and then we will run it through the die cutting machine. This typewriter is a super popular, super popular one of my stamps. So popular that last year we came out with the Just My Type set that wasn't news related, but more kind of greeting card related. All right, so let's see what we need to stamp that on something. Now, because there's so much color going on here, I can either stamp the typewriter in a color that might be kind of coordinating, or I would stamp it in black and, well, in black, not in black and white. So this could be interesting. What if, let's look at that stamp. Wonder what would happen. Let's try it. Let's try to stamp on this kind of type page. Let's try that, see what happens. There's a yellow that would work. We'll try the yellow, and then we'll try the white. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see. All right, so we need stamping block. And that looks like a good one. I need my black ink. Let's grab that. And I need my little test notebook. Test notebook for me is one of the most important parts of the process when I am stamping. 98% of the time, every once in a while I forget, 98% of the time I am always doing a test stamp before I actually do it on my project. And that's really important for a couple of reasons. Number one, you want to make sure you're going to get a nice clean impression. You want to make sure there's not a little piece of lint or hair on your stamp. You want to test color. If I was using something different than black and maybe I wanted to make sure that I liked the color, if I test stamp ahead of time, I can make sure that I like the color. I can make sure that I have stamped it straight on, put the stamp straight on my stamping block. If I'm spelling a word, I can make sure that it is spelled correctly. If I am, what was I just gonna say? Spelling a word, I don't know, whatever the other thing I was saying. Oh, I know. If it's a stamp maybe I haven't used before and I'm not super familiar with the amount of pressure that I need to apply, sometimes if you press too hard, your stamp's going to get blurry. So all those reasons I am test stamping ahead of time. Now, when I did that, one of the things I noticed, I didn't kind of in the center there get enough ink. And I also probably did not apply enough pressure in the center. So all of those things I would much rather figure out ahead of time. Much rather figure out ahead of time as opposed to figuring that out on my project, right? I'd rather make a mistake or learn here than there. Let's see, is this paper of the test book the same as your project? Notes from past Amy, that is a great point. It absolutely is not. So my test notebook is super really thin paper. I always use the same, when I'm using white cardstock, I always am using the same white cardstock. But when I am using a pattern paper, generally it's all the same thickness, but it's not going to be the same. I'm not texting on the same or testing on the same paper as I'm using. I think the reason why Nancy brought up that question is because you will get different results on different paper. If you have a really fine paper, maybe that is really porous and it's going to really soak up the ink and kind of shadow or goes through on the other side. That is going to react very differently than if you have a thicker paper, which will react differently than if you have a paper that has a texture to it, right? So it's a good idea as you are stamping, especially if you are a newer stamper, just to play around a lot to understand how your stamp is going to react on your different, mediums, on your paper, on your thinner paper, your thicker paper. So that looks really good. Now that's okay, even though there are words behind that, because that's so light, I think that's going to work. But you know what? Let's try it on here too, because that's one of the things that we do when we're here together, right? We play. I test things out so that you can kind of see and go, ooh, you know what? I don't like that. I wouldn't do that again. And sometimes I say, oh, I don't like that. I wouldn't do that again. But we learn. It's a lot what we do here together is we just learn. We play and we test and we learn. So guess what? I am going to get this guy stamped. And as soon as he's stamped and as soon as I've decided which one I want to go with, I am going to draw our prize, okay? One of the things, and I think you guys are talking about, I think you're talking about the black VersaFine Clear ink. That is what I use. That's pretty much exclusively the only black ink that I use. It is a pigment-based ink. So pigment-based inks, you guys know I use Distress Oxides, which are also pigment-based inks. That's what I prefer. For me, and this is just a layel term, it's kind of like a juicy ink, right? A little bit of a juicier ink, meaning it gives me nice, good coverage. That I am out of stock. I have had that on order for about a month, and my distributor is also out of stock. So it's supposed to come back in November. Your best bet when something on my website is out of stock is to go to that product on the website and click the email me when available button. That way, as soon as it is back in stock, you automatically get an email. But it's pretty amazing. It's a good one. It is a good one. Okay, so I have pulled out one of my die cut machines. You guys, I think I have 4 different die cut machines. One is manual. The others are, no, 3. One is manual. The others are electronic. The die cut machine is going to take your metal die and then basically punch out or cut out your stamp for you, all right? Amy has done 3 amazing videos that you'll see here on my YouTube channel. One is kind of an intro to working with metal dies. The second one is an advanced. Amy, if you want to throw on the website, there is a page of free classes. So if you want to throw that in the chat, that would be awesome. You'll see those 3 classes on that, those 3 free classes about die cutting on that free classes page on my website. Anyhow, she's done a really great job of showing you how to use metal dies and then giving you some really kind of great fun tips and different tips and tricks and techniques that you can do with metal dies. All right, anyhow, so what I've done, this little electronic machine that I'm using is the Empress Mini. It is from Anna Griffin. Amy will pop a link to some different die cut machines. I don't sell any die cut machines because they're kind of a bigger ticket item, but she'll throw a couple links, a link or 2 in there. Really the only difference between an electronic and a manual is that you have to do a little bit more work with the manual. The electronic, you just push a button and it goes. All right. All right, let me die. I'm going to cut these. I'm going to cut these and then I'm going to draw the prize. Oh my gosh, I will forget. All right, so I am going to just kind of come in and go around the outside of that one. And I will do the same thing, come around the outside of this one. Now, you don't have to have dies and you don't have to have a die cutting machine. You can get out your little scissors and just fussy cut around any of your stamps, right? But sometimes it makes it just a little bit easier if you have your little die. So this is a magnetic plate. I have put my stamped image down. I'm putting the die face down, right? You'll see the little edges there on the die. I'm putting that face down. And then I need to make a sandwich, not because I'm hungry. I need to make a sandwich. The sandwich is going to add some depth for when it goes through the die cutting machine. So I'll put a plate on top. I will put a plate on the bottom. And I'm going to turn my little machine on there. And I'm going to run that through. So I'll select run. And there we go. So it has now cut out, whoopsie. It didn't quite go on there for me. It has cut out that little typewriter. There we go. All right, so we'll do the next one and then we'll see what one we like. But as soon as I do the next one, I am going to draw our prize. Draw our prize. So if you missed that before, the way that I draw the prize is through the chat. So I will stop in a moment and I'm going to add a little shim here, I think. I think if I put that little shim there, because on that one side it didn't quite cut through. Let's do that. And run that through again. So if I had a manual machine, basically I would just do this little crank, okay? But basically in that machine, really heavy, it's applying a lot of pressure as those plates go through. Anne said, I'm thinking maybe I didn't need it, just fussy cut. Yep, you can do it either way, right? You can do it either way. This is a pretty easy one to fussy cut. The more intricate your stamps get, sometimes it's a lot easier to use metal dies, but it works both ways. All right, let's get this off to the side because we are done with that die cutting machine. And I am going to stop. I'm going to jump into the chat and I am going to draw our live prize for tonight. That live prize is my October 31st mini book project kit and the album that goes with it and the color step-by-step instructions. And whoever wins this, you need to email me at laelbymail@gmail.com and I will send you the link to the class where I make it step-by-step right along with you. Okay, so stopping and my finger stops at Dina 3090. Dina 3090. Dina, ding, 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 ding. Dina is tonight's winner of the live prize. So Dina, send an email to laelbymail@gmail.com. In the subject line, please write October 31st kit winner, and then include your name and address, and we will get that prize shipped off to you next week. So that is Dina 3090. Dina 3090. Congratulations, Dina. All right. Okay, so now we can decide which one we'd like. So here they are side by side, or I shouldn't say side by side, one above the other. Same idea, right? They both have words typed on them. The yellow is a little bit more subtle than the white. And I think I'm going to use the yellow. But I now have this typewriter that I can use another time, right? So we'll just set that off to the side. As we come over here, my little typewriter is going to go there. And we can even look at it on here and see the difference. And you might say, Lael, I really like the contrast of the white. And I'm going to say, oh, don't you worry your pretty little head. We're going to have contrast of the white. It's going to be our next step. Because this is an in the news list for both August and September, I need to kind of have two lists, one for August and one for September. So I am going to use the library card stamp. Library card stamp was one of the very first stamps that I released. My stamps and pretty much all the products I released, it's kind of, you know how they say necessity is the mother of invention. That would be this case. I like to use library cards a lot in my documenting, kind of in my memory keeping and my scrapbooking. But the problem with a library card, a real library card, is it has all the library information like name and date checked out and all that. So all of those little lines were constantly getting in the way of what I wanted to do, which was to be able to write on it. So I came out with a library card stamp. This is an extremely well used and loved stamp. As you can see, it's all black up there. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that I use these for some of my project kits quite a bit, and that just happens. So let's see, my stamping block. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. That is not going to be big enough for my stamp. Oh, before I do that, really quickly, guys, I need to clean this guy off. So I should clean it off and put it away, right? Like that. I should always clean it off and put it away right away. That's just, you know, take care of your stamps, take care of your tools and your product. If you take care of them, they will take care of you. So get that all nice and clean. I'm just using a stamp chamois to clean that. All right, a little stamp chamois. You'll see those on my website. Let's take this guy off. And now we need a larger stamping block. As you are building up your arsenal of supplies, one of the things, if you are stamping or if you're just getting started stamping, that I can't recommend enough is having a variety of stamping blocks in your arsenal. That is really, really, really important. Variety of sizes, because you have stamps that are different sizes, right? Let's see. Does that one work? Nope. This one works. Yep, that works. All right. So having a variety of sizes of stamping blocks is really important, because if you only have one size, you kind of have to go with the lowest common denominator, which would be your largest size. So in this example, let's say that is the only stamping block that I have in my arsenal of tools, which that's okay, right? We have what we have, and sometimes that's just what we have. So it works really well for my larger stamps, but when I get to like a little teeny tiny stamp, like maybe that little ghost from the Halloween mini icons, that is a teeny tiny stamp going on that giant, vast, expansive stamping block. Makes it a lot harder to get a nice, clean impression on my stamp if I have a stamping block that's too big. So when it comes to stamping, another thing that I recommend, so we talked about always test stamping first. Another thing that I recommend is having a variety of sizes of your stamping blocks. So you're kind of right sizing your stamp to the stamping block. All right, this one's gonna take lots of ink, right? And I'm going to do 2 of these. I'm going to do 2 of these because I'll have my list of in the news events for August on one, and my list of in the news events for September on the other one. Where is my white cardstock that I just had out? Oh gosh, I almost dropped something. Glass on the floor. That would not have ended well. All right, here's my white cardstock. I'm just gonna ink that up just a tad bit more because I had inked it and then air got to it for a minute. I mean, it's okay if air gets to it, but the longer that that ink sits on the stamp before you stamp it, you just want it to be pretty juicy when you stamp, ink and then stamp, right? Okay, so there we go. I'm going to come in and I will stamp this more than once. All right, I'm going to stamp this more than once. The reason I am going to stamp this more than once is because if I'm going to the trouble to get out my inks, to get out my stamps, to get out my stamping blocks, I might as well maybe stamp a library card a couple of times so that the next time I want to use one, I already have one, right? Now, Amy just dropped a little something in the chat. Look at that. Look how nice and crisp that is. And it wasn't a link, it was a hint. She said, we might have just ordered a matching die to go with the library card stamp. Just saying. So there are actually, how many, Amy? 5? Did we just do 5? We just pulled the trigger on 5, I think, new dies. There's some really fun ones coming. You'll see 1 or 2 release with the November stamp release, which will be November 15th-ish. And then after the first of the year, you will see some more. I will also tell you, we just wrapped up the design on one of the 3 new Traveler's Notebook covers, Traveler's Notebooks, this afternoon as well. So lots of fun things happening in 2025. All right. Yep, Amy ordered 5 new dies for us today. 5 new dies. So they're currently being manufactured, and you'll see those starting next month and into 2025. All right. Okay. There we go. And like I said, maybe I want to be crafty, or maybe you guys are joining me and you're like, oh, I've had a long week. I really don't want to get all my stuff out. I don't want to work on anything. But you're like, but I still want to kind of be productive. Get out your stamps. Get out your stamps that you use often, maybe like your clip stamps or library card stamp, and do a little bit of mass production, right? Make 10 or 20, just stamp 10 or 20 of your library cards or of your clips, so that next time that you want to use one, you don't have to get out all your stuff, right? It's just ready for you. It's just ready. So, okay, there we go. That one's ready. That takes some work. I felt like, isn't that sad? It sounds like I got out of breath on that. Where did that go? We'll just put it up. Oh, there it is. Okay. Put that guy back on there. And look, that came right off. My black ink that was there came right off. Okay. So now let's cut these guys out. And remember, I need to use 2. So I will have one of my lists. Look, it disappeared. It's magic. There we go. That one. I will use one of those for August and one for September. And I have black ink all over my fingernails. That is why I am not a fan of mixed media, my friends. Oh, if you know me, you know I do not like inky fingers, inky hands. Oh, and you know, that's kind of what you get when you're mixed mediating. I will, though, very quickly, before I do anything else, I'm going to grab a baby wipe and I'm going to clean off my fingers. And it's really more so, I'm not really worried about my fingernails. I'm more worried about my fingertips. If I have ink on my fingertips, the chances of me transferring that ink a la fingerprint onto my project are going to be pretty high. Okay? All right. Let's see. Those are, I think I need some new wipes. I think these are about done. You know when they get all dry? Maybe I'll go to the bottom. Oh yeah, they're pretty much all dry. All right, when you are stamping or working with mixed media, good idea to either have a damp paper towel or your baby wipes or whatever with you. We'll just put those on the floor because those are gonna need to go in the garbage. Or I can re-wet them later, but not now. Okay, so here are my library cards. My library cards are going to go into the typewriter. Into the typewriter once I find the typewriter. Where did it go? All right, friends, what did I do with it? That's usually when one of you says, oh, I saw it. You put it up. Oh, it's on the floor. Never mind. It's on the floor. All right. So the typewriters, when we designed them, fit the library cards. So look, I can tuck those into the library card, and that's basically going to be a little pocket. All right, little pocket that my library cards can go in and out of. So I am going to get some double-sided tape, some 1/4-inch double-sided tape. And when I am doing something interactive like that, and when I mean interactive, that's a pocket, so things are going in and out it. I want to use a little bit stronger adhesive than my regular tape runner that I use. If I use my 1/4-inch score tape, then that's going to be nice and strong. So it won't like move or become disengaged as I am like maybe putting things in and out of that pocket. All right, so there we go. Now I'm not going to pull those little protective pieces all the way off just yet. I am just going to pull a little bit off. Like that, maybe about a third, maybe quarter to a third. The reason I'm going to do that, if you've ever used double-sided tape before, the reason we use it is that it's nice and sturdy. We like that, right? It's nice and sturdy. The problem is it's nice and sturdy and sticks really well. It's a double-edged sword. We like it because it sticks really well, but we also don't like it when it sticks really well when we put it down and we get it on crooked, right? So what I've just done, I have just made little tabs. They're all facing the outside so that I can put this down there and look at, I can move that all around, right? I can move it all around. It's not sticking, even though the sticky is partially revealed. So if I do this and put that right there, now I can press down on the parts that have been revealed and then pull my little pieces out, all right? So basically that gives me a little bit of a fudge factor. So I can kind of have room to move that around and make sure I get it placed where I want it, straight, ideally, before I actually adhere it. Okay, why am I having such a difficult time? Difficult time this evening. All right, so there is one, and then my other one will be here. So really, I'm only going to see a little bit of the color, right? Just a little bit of the color because those cards and my typewriter are taking up some room. All right, so now I need 2 stamps. One that says September and one that says August. So let's think about that for a moment. I have a number of different stamps that I could use. What if we use, I didn't get this out ahead of time. Where would it be? My back is to you, so I apologize if you can't hear me. Do I have it in here? I am looking for the, oh, here it is. I did get it out ahead of time. The handwritten months. So this is my handwriting, and these are the 12 months of the year, along with 2024, 2025, 2026, and then the numbers written out as well, 0 through 9. So I am going to, oopsie, pull that out, and I would like to use August on one. It always is very odd to me when I am stamping my own handwriting, because it's like, well, I could just write that, but then that doesn't really do us any good if you can't see the stamps if I just write it, right? August and September. So we will do that. Let's get out our stamping block again. Our stamping blocks, I should say. Those are always right handy. My tools that I use most often are always right there handy, ready for me. So you may have noticed as I am adding stamps to stamping blocks, my preferred way to do that is to put the stamp down and then pick it up with the stamping block, as opposed to doing this, taking the stamp and putting it on the block. I have a much greater chance of getting that straight if I do that. So just another little tip. Just another little tip of things that I have learned along the way that tend to work for me when it comes to stamping. I've not always been a stamper. For a while, I hated stamping because I had no clue what I was doing. And like with a lot of things in life, if you don't really know what you're doing, sometimes things don't work out the way that you want them to. And that was me with stamping. I thought it was something wrong with me. I thought I just didn't, I wasn't doing it correctly. It never looked like I wanted it to look. Whoopsie. Never looked how I wanted it to look. And part of that reason is because I wasn't doing some things that, in my opinion, are really important. Test stamping first, like I mentioned. I always stand when I am working. So I am standing right now. I stand all the time. I always am standing when I'm working, but standing when you're stamping is especially important. I cannot overemphasize that enough, especially if you were like, oh, I don't like to stamp. It never turns out. It always is, something's wrong with it. It doesn't look good. If you stand when you're stamping, I promise you that will make the world of difference. So if you are sitting, even if you're standing right now, I'm going to squat down. You won't be able to see that. I'm going to pretend like I'm sitting. When I'm sitting, I have what I call my little T-Rex arms here, okay? My arms don't have a lot of range of motion because they're running into my work surface or they're running into my thighs or whatever they're running into. I don't have a lot of motion between as high as my hands can get and my work surface to stamp. When I stand, I have so much more room. I have so much more leverage, and stamping is all about leverage. You want to be able to come from up high and go down onto your work surface. So the more leverage you have, the better. Okay, so standing, that's another big thing. All right, so there's August. Let's get September over here. Another thing, now I have already conditioned these stamps. I have used these stamps before. So I think everything that we are using tonight when it comes to stamping, I have already used. So I won't show you the process of conditioning per se this evening, but we can sure talk about it. When you get new stamps, they're not necessarily ready to be used yet. They have a little bit of a coating on them, almost like a spray, and it's not a spray, but they almost like a little bit of a coating. Ooh, okay. So that one, I wasn't paying enough attention. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay, but I didn't get enough ink for my personal taste up there at the top of those letters. But it's okay. I'm not going to stamp a library card again and start over. It'll do. But you need to condition or prime your stamps before you use them, especially your either acrylic stamps or your photopolymer stamps. My stamps are photopolymer. They are manufactured in the US, so very good, high quality stamps. But you need to get them ready to use before you use them. And that's the case with any of your stamps. Not your red rubber stamps, but you need to prime them or condition them. So generally what I do is I take a little rubber eraser and I will go over the entire set of stamps at one time. And I'm lightly erasing. And I'm not really trying to erase anything off. I'm just trying to get rid of that invisible coating that you really can't see. So I just do that, pick up that invisible coating, and then I'm using my stamp chamois to clean that, dry it, and then start inking. That's the way I do it. There are different ways that you can prime or condition your stamps, but that's the way I do it. The point is that you want to be priming or conditioning your stamps before you use them. And between now and the end of the year, I do have a couple of different stamping classes, free classes that you'll see on my website, going over quite a few of those stamping tips that I talk about every time that we stamp. All right, bring this back in. Here we go. And now my little September will be in there. My little August will be in here. And we'll write our list there. Now, I think what I will do, I would like somewhere for this to say in the news. And if I maybe stamp that just right over here in that little corner, I think I can do that. So let's do, this is in the news 2. There are 2 in the news stamp sets. The first one that I used was the one that had the typewriter on it. I am using in the news 2. And I think I can just take that little in the news. There's a number of different in the news, breaking news, another typewriter news, large news, just lots of different things. But I think that in the news will fit very well there. Just kind of go right there. So even though I could use that stamping block, I am going to right size, okay? I'm going to right size. I want to use the smallest stamping block possible. That is going to give me, in my opinion, the best outcome. So this little guy, all the stamping blocks that I've used, you'll see I have a variety of different stamping blocks on my website. This is one of mine, that little 1.625, I think. So it's a nice little size. All right. Good night, Jennifer, if we missed you. Ooh. All right, good night. Good night. Sounds like Jennifer's getting up very early in the morning. Did I say thighs? What did I say, Angie? I'm not sure what I said. So Nancy, I have a standing desk. Well, my counter, my main desk, yes, is standing. But here's the thing. Even if I had like a regular desk, I would still stand to do my stamping. If you have a regular desk that you normally work on, you might go into the kitchen to do your stamping, okay? Maybe go into the kitchen to do your stamping, even the bathroom. I think the higher of a surface that you have when you're stamping, the better. But yes, I do have a standing desk. All right. Did I say thighs? That's funny. I have no clue what I said. You guys know that most of the time I really have no clue what I said, and that's why I never watch. I never go back and watch because I'd probably cringe. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. That live stream, right? That's kind of what happens when you live stream. When I am live streaming, it's kind of a constant stream of consciousness. If it pops into my head, 9 times out of 10, probably 9.9 times out of 10, it is going to come out my mouth while we're live streaming. So, all right, while I'm live streaming. Okay, so I just put this back here, see how we're doing. That little guy is going to go there. I think I am good now to add my photo over here. We'll do that. I would love to know, you guys, as I mentioned, the next couple of free classes that I have that are coming have to do with stamping. And they'll cover a lot of the things that we talk about, or I talk about and go through every time that I'm stamping. But I would love to know if there are other free classes that you would like to see. Now, remember, these are free, so they're not going to be like a 20-hour class showing you all of my secrets, all of the techniques that I do in, say, one of my mini book classes. Because, you know, that's how my business runs. But I always love to have suggestions on different things that you would be interested in. So I think there are six or eight, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 free classes out there on my website right now. Like I said, with more to come. Another one, and this is organization. A space themed class. Sports themed. I'm like space. Sports themed. So classes are more kind of technique based, product based, as opposed to. So Karen, I'd have to think more about how I could make something like that work. Hydration break, friends. So hydrate. If you haven't had anything to drink in a bit, hydrate. I also saw. Someone reminded us, thank you, Colleen. Thumbs up, friends, please. If you are here watching still, give the video a thumbs up. That is one of the easiest ways that you can support any content creator, which is really what I'm doing, right? Anyone you watch on YouTube or on Facebook or on TikTok or Bliblob or whatever the things are these days, right? Instagram, Pinterest, whatever it is. Thumbs up. Leave a comment, thumbs up. That is one of the best ways that you can support someone, besides obviously buying, but not everyone can buy. So thumbs up is always super, super, super helpful and beneficial. In fact, that is how some of you have found me, right? Because there's so much interaction that happens when we do our listing sessions that YouTube sees lots of interaction. And when somebody comes to YouTube and searches for Traveler's Notebook, I'm one of the videos, or I'm one of the content creators that comes up very often. So if we want to expand our community and we want to have new people find us and join us, that's a really easy way. Okay, so I purposefully left a little bit of room down here at the bottom. So there's a little bit more room at the bottom than there is the top. I pulled off from in the news too, this definition stamp. It says newsworthy, interesting enough to the general public to warrant reporting. So I think what I'm going to do, I wonder... I do not know ahead of time. Oh, it does. All right. So I'm going to pull out, this is a newer stamp set in the box 2. So these are just different sized boxes. A lot of times I'm doing my lists in boxes. So I've pulled out in the box 2 and this little box right here. My little definition will fit inside of that, and then that can go right down here. So let's grab our stamping block. Now this is not a stamping block that I have on my website. Amy, you know what? Do you want to make just a quick note for me? Let's look at new size stamping block for some of our longer definitions. That's one from Lawn Fawn, but I don't carry those. I just ordered it from them because I'm like, hey, I need a longer stamping block for some of my longer stamps. So you'll notice I have placed that on the block. It's left justified. I did that on purpose. It's left justified because as I am stamping over here, I need to make sure that that block does not come over here. If I had centered that, which usually I'd be thinking, oh, just center it because it's easier to handle. If I had centered it, my problem would be, even though my stamp was where I wanted it to be, like that, I would not get a nice, good impression because over here, it's a little bit higher. So my block is running into that. I won't get a nice impression over here on this end. So just when you're stamping, just kind of be thinking things through, think through what you're about to do. And generally you'd figure that out the first time because I figured that out the first time. And then after that, you're like, oh shoot. Okay, so I'm gonna try something. I still have a little bit of this yellow. I could try it in yellow. We'll see if we like that. And it might be a little much with the yellow typewriter next to it, but we'll see if we like it. I want to apply nice even pressure, especially since that's a little bit of a longer stamp. All right, there we go. I need to fussy cut this because there is not a die set for in the box 2 ... yet. Hint, hint. I think now we've told you 2 things, 2 new die sets that are coming. Die for the library card stamp, a die for in the box 2. Die set, well, yeah, more coming. I know, yet. All right, so this could go here, right? I think that'll be fine. I think that will work. So now let's clean this guy off and we will do our little definition in that box. I will tell you right now, we will not get all 3 stamps, all 3 lists done today. We will get 2. I have a hard stop at 9 o'clock Mountain Time this evening because I still have, if I want to stay married, I need to end at 9 Mountain Time because I still have a lot to do to get ready to leave on our trip tomorrow. I apologize profusely to Nick so many times today because I just did not schedule my time accordingly and have done no help in getting ready for the trip. But he knows me. We've been married almost 30 years, so he knows me. All right, here we go. There we are, newsworthy, interesting enough to the general public to warrant reporting. Tabitha, yes, not yet. Do not have, I don't carry that long stamp block. That is from Lawn Fawn. That's a hard size to find. And I cannot get it from Lawn Fawn. So Amy just made a note, and it won't be exactly like that, right? Because we don't really need it that long. But stay tuned. Down the road, we'll come out with a stamping block that's a little bit longer and narrower. Longer and narrower for what we need like that. All right. Because I aim to please and aim to be, as much as I can, one-stop shopping, so you don't have to go to lots of different places and spend your hard-earned money on shipping in a lot of different places. If it makes sense, right? If it makes sense for the things that I do, then it makes sense to bring it in. There we go. Alrighty. Some of you know I'm a bit of a yellow fanatic. I really like yellow, and I end up using yellow sometimes quite a bit. Sometimes quite a bit. All right, now all of that to say we're ready to do our list now, okay? We are ready to do our list. I've got those side by side. Oh, hi,
Hi,
Derek.
Candy. Are you halfway through?
Am I halfway through? Your ears must have been burning. Hi, Candy, because it says, my shirt says Team Candy Corn. Is that why you said hi, Candy?
Yeah.
Okay, people are confused. They're like, I thought this was Lael, not Candy. Halfway through. Yes, we are halfway through. I just said we'd be done at 9 o'clock. So I got you, honey. I got your back. His ears must have been ringing, right? Okay. All right. My list. So, because I could never possibly remember all the things I need to remember on that list, even though I have photos to kind of help prompt me, I am going in my Listing with Lael workbook. Oh my gosh, I'd say 3 years now. I think I've been using this for 3 years, and this is how I plan all of our sessions. We are originally going to do this list back October 12th. So this is where I have the things on my list. So I will reference that. The only other thing that I need is I need a bullet stamp. So a bullet stamp, this is going to be it's going to be a run-on list. No, it will be a bulleted list. No, it's going to be a run-on list. Sorry, I had to think about that. I'm going to have this be a run-on list, meaning this would be an example of a run-on list. Basically, I am just writing, and then I need to put some differentiator in between everything I'm writing, and in that case, that was a little television bullet stamp, just so that you can see. It's a run-on, but we need something to kind of separate it. So maybe what I'll do, I don't use this guy very often. There are 3 different bullet stamps. There is Bullets and More, which is this guy. There's Bullets and More 2 and Bullets and More 3. I would say Bullets and More 2 is probably my most used stamp set for me personally. I use it on almost everything. All right, so look at little teeny stamp. Little teeny tiny stamp. Remember when we talked about right sizing our blocks? Look at that little stamp. If I try to use the only size stamping book I have for that, that's going to be a mess. It's never going to be even. It's going to be blurry and smushed in some sides or some parts, and then very faint in other parts because the stamping block's just too big. So another one of my products is a stamping stylus. That is a long, skinny stamping block. All right. So basically it's the shape of like a pen or pencil, something that our hand is very accustomed to. So I am going to take that little arrow stamp and I'm going to put it on the end of that stamping stylus. Now, there's definitely a direction to that stamp, right? I'm going to bring in a color. Let's bring in green. I like that green. I think that green is going to be mowed lawn. I bet in my head that mowed lawn is really close to that color. Let's see. Mowed lawn. So there is a direction to the stamp. What I mean by that is, well, it will go this way, right? And if I don't have the right direction, that stamp is now all over the board, right? So the way that I know if I have it in the right direction, if I am paying attention to this little guy right here, that is a little sticker. That sticker is there for a reason because it gives you a reference point for the orientation of your stamp. So if I am making sure that as I'm stamping that sticker is always facing the same direction, then my stamp will also always be stamping in the right place, all right? Or the place I want it to be. So as I do that, then it is always in that same place. I want to show you something very quickly. Remember when I mentioned one of the things when you're test stamping is to test the amount of pressure that you need to apply? Watch this. I will stamp this twice. I barely applied pressure on that one, which is what I want. And then here, if I way over, and I over-exaggerated that for a reason, but look at the difference. You'll be surprised on some of your stamps. You don't need to apply as much pressure as you think you do. Look what happened when I really pressed on that. I can't even see what that is. That's a one giant mess right there, right? So that's another reason that you test stamp is to get a feel for the amount of pressure that you need to apply. All right, so now we are ready for our August list of in the news. So I have that noted over here. Remember, I'm not showing any political affiliation as I am writing the things on the list. I am just listing newsworthy events. Kamala Harris accepts the Democratic presidential nomination. Newsworthy. Newsworthy in my book, right? So everything on my list I have considered newsworthy. Next up, it was the 15th month in a row of record high global temperatures. And this is basically how I do my list. I just keep going down my list over here. August, let's see, was the hottest, H-O-T-T? H-O-T-T? Karen, so, I did in the news probably for July. The July Kamala Harris in the news was that, I think Biden said that she was going to be vice or president, not president, but I can't remember how to word it. The difference between July and August is that August she accepted the Democratic nomination, whereas July was different. H-O-T-T, that's how I had it. Hottest, thank you. Hottest, August on record. In 175 years. You know, when we say that news can be political, both figuratively and literally, that can even be political, right? Heat and temperatures and things like that. Oh yeah, no worries, Karen. No need to say my bad. Because we did talk about that, or it was on my list before, but in a different capacity. But yeah, temperature, climate can also be political. Well, it can be literally or figuratively, right? Let's see. There was a prisoner exchange with Russia. And it was a group, but including two people that you'd heard their names quite a bit. Evan Gershovich. I'm probably going to spell this incorrectly because I can't really read my writing. Oh my gosh. Oh well. I'm sorry, Evan. I'm so sorry. I can't read my writing. Gershovich. That's my bad, friends. It's down there. I just can't read it. Evan Gershovich and Paul Whelan. All right. And another one. Mass AT&T outage. And it was cellular. I think it was probably other things too, but cellular is, I think, where it was noticeable. Well, it was noticeable in other areas, but, and then Phil Donahue passed away. Now, my list for August is really short. You know why my list for August is really short? Because I had forgotten all through the month of August, because there was a lot of teaching and traveling and designing, I had forgotten to, throughout the month, make my list of things that was happening. And I tell you, when I said earlier that you want to do that during the month as opposed to try to go find it later, it's not easy to find those things later. So I'm a little bit light on the news for August. Okay, September. And then we will be ready to move on to our next list. So curious, are you guys listing with me this evening? If you are listing with me, are you doing this one? Are you doing another one? So in the month of September, and in no particular order, there was a presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Just the facts, right? That's all I'm stating is the facts. No opinion. No opinion. We got to refrain from that. No one wants to get into that, especially me. Karen said she had not heard of the phone outages. That's news to her. There were a couple. There was a big one in, I think, also in September. Maybe. I don't remember. We'll see if we'll see it on our list. There was the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Sometimes in the news are fun. Well, I shouldn't say fun because fun, I mean, this is fun, but this topics are not necessarily fun. But I want to say maybe April, there were two things on my list. Beyonce had hit a record in her country album, and the same month Taylor Swift had broken records with her dual release of her poets. The poets, her most recent, I was going to say Dead Poet Society. That's not what it is. Okay. Let's see. James Earl Jones. Pete Rose, and Chris Christopherson. Passed away. Now, there are obviously more people that passed away in September. I generally, things like that, if they're people that I know, obviously not know, but if they're people that I recognize, then generally they'll be in my list otherwise. 6 Israeli hostages were killed. It's very odd for me not to give commentary because you guys know I talk all the time. School shooting in Georgia killed 4. We had talked about at one point maybe trying to do a happy news list, because in a lot of cases the things that are in the news are pretty heavy, right? Israel planted explosives in Hezbollah's pagers. Pagers, like the old little pager, killing 9 and wounding 3,000. And we're just about done, friends, with this list. Tupperware files bankruptcy. And let's see, Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene. Killed 225 plus people. And devastation, right? Widespread devastation. And then the last thing that's going to be on my list is Hezbollah leader killed in Israeli strike. And I don't have room for that, so I'm just going to say Hezbollah leader killed. All right, friends, so there we go. So if I had more things on my list, I could come to the back. And if I wanted to come to the back, what I would probably do is just leave it plain, but you could certainly stamp library card on the back side as well. If I was going to do that, I would probably do my trimming, or when the die comes out next month, die cut first on the one side, and then I would come in and stamp on the other side, just so that you know that you get the stamp on the back side exactly where you need it to be once you cut the front side. Alrighty, but those are great for lists. They're great for journaling. I use those library cards in my traveler's notebooks quite a bit. They're just fun. They're just a fun little thing to incorporate into your projects. So there we go. There is my in the news for the month of August and September. So photos from August, photos from September, list August, list September. So that one is done, done, done. Let me roll up in the chat for a second really quickly. Let's see. Oh, Miss Waddell, RV hint, second set of everything. Absolutely, I do. Well, I have makeup, all of the toiletries and everything, just not the pajamas, socks, and underwear, but everything else is, I have a second set. Well, I don't have a second set in the RV. I have a second travel set of all of those things, because sometimes they would go in the RV, but sometimes, you know, I'm traveling a lot for business. And so I just have a second set of everything. I learned that the hard way, that it's so much easier to do that, even though it's double the expense. So much easier, because then you never get somewhere and realize you forgot to pack something. Alrighty. Karen, I like that idea. She said, I think I'm going to do a list of YouTubers I watch and an opposing page of the genre type videos. That would be a lot of fun. Ms. Waddell said, I've done my in the news list for years, but like you, I want to focus on the happier news now. I'm so tired of wars and elections. I know, right? You know what's hard? We get desensitized to it, I think, Ms. Waddell. We get desensitized to it just because we just hear about it nonstop, which is not a good thing that we get desensitized, but it happens, right? It happens. Thank you, Linda. Linda said she loved the layout. Now, here's the thing. This type of layout, you guys, anything that we do, you can be inspired by, even if you're not doing an in the news list, right? You could add, you could do your about last month like this. So you've got your photos here, you've got your little pocket, and you're doing your little journaling there. You could even do something like this on a 12 by 12 scrapbook page, because I know some of you are 12 by 12 scrapbookers. Do your little pocket, add your little journaling, or add additional photos on your library cards, and then build everything around it with your photos and what have you. So you can, even though you may not be listing with us, or even though you may not be doing the same type of list that we're doing, you can still take kind of the general design principles or the general designs and make them work for something else. Okay, so I am going to very quickly put these things away. Oh, Nick shut the door. Reggie can't get in. He's at the door wanting to come in. All right, in the sake of time, I'm not going to get this put away. I'm just going to shove it off to the side, except we'll get the paper out of the way, because that will kind of make things a little harder to see what we're doing. Let's get that out. Here's the months. I can put these in there really quickly. All right, so our next list that we're going to do, friends, let's see. The next list that we are going to do is, this was from last week. Here we go. We're going to do a then and now list. All right, a then and now. So we have done a then and now list a couple of times in the past. I have pulled out the original Listing with Lael idea book. So this one is from 2020 to 2023. All right, so this was our first 3 years of listing. There are 300 some odd lists in the idea book. So when I had on my list of lists for us to do tonight, then and now, I thought, you know what? I want to go back and see the different then and now lists that we've done in the past to get some inspiration. So, table of contents, opposites attract. Then and now, it's in opposites attract. So if I go to page 72, which I already marked, so we'll just do that. As I go to page 72, we'll see the different then and now lists that we have done. So we did 2 in those first 3 years. We did 1 in 2022. We did 1 in 2021. So basically, this is under opposites attract because we are comparing and contrasting 2 different points in time. So back then, I was using alphabet stamps to stamp then and to stamp now in both of those cases. But now we don't have to use alphabet stamps because there is a stamp set that is called opposites attract, right? So opposites attract, the whole point behind the opposites attract stamp set is to give you pairs of stamps that you could use to compare and contrast with one another. For example, then and now, or like and dislike, or good and bad, less and more, love and hate, this and that. So we are going to use then and now. That makes sense. So with the idea book, if you are new to the concept of the idea book, there's a couple of things that I should probably mention just while we were talking about that. Let's say on this list, you're like, ooh, okay, I kind of like what she did there. I want to watch her make that list. So with that list, you have the date that it was done, like this. You have the URL or the website, and then you have the time on when I started making that list. So that was done on April 16th of 2022, and the list started at the 30-minute mark. Now, that is the link. So you might think, well, okay, so do I have to really sit down and type all that in? And I say no, because when you buy the physical version of the idea book, you automatically get emailed the digital version. So it's the exact same book. The key difference being when you come to this page and you want to see that list being made, that is a hot link, meaning you can click it. It will take you to that video here on my YouTube channel, and then you just fast forward to the 30-minute mark. So it's kind of a fun thing that we did with the idea book. It makes it easy for you to go watch something if you want to watch it. Oh, well, let's get that back out because I'd like for that to kind of be my inspiration. We don't have to like reinvent the wheel every time. Like, that's fun. Might as well do that. Okay, so we have this. What collection am I using for then and now? Oh yes, I am using this one. Jen Hadfield, the Groovy Darlin. Groovy Darlin. I knew Groovy, I just couldn't remember the Darlin part. All right, so this is a super fun collection. It is kind of retro, groovy-ish, I guess. So I am going to pull out the 6x8 paper pad. Other than telling myself I wanted to use this collection, I have not looked at any of it in a while to see what I wanted to use. So let's look and see. I know I need 2 pattern papers that will go side by side. This is kind of a fun one. There are some papers in the collection that have copper foil accents. Ooh, okay, look at, well, I can't do that. I can't do yellow again. Some of you are like, I hate yellow. What if I do those 2 together? Those 2 would be fun. Let's do that. I think those 2 would be fun. Let's just give a little spin through the rest of that paper pad to see what we might want to use. Oh my goodness, what's Nick doing in the other room? I could do that. I think we'll do that. We'll use this larger flower instead. All right, so that's our start. Our starting point is those 2 papers. Now, On this last list, I used a 12 by 12, but I had to because that's all I had available, right? That is all I had available was 12 by 12. But here, 6 by 8. And if I can, I will use 6 by 8 because 6 by 8, I have very little excess, right? I have very little paper left. But the pattern is scaled to size. So if I had a 12 by 12 sheet of that, those flowers would be much larger, which isn't a bad thing until I'm kind of working in a smaller area and then my flowers are really big and I don't get as many of them, and yeah. All right, so we are going to trim both of these papers down to 4 3/4 inches wide. 4 3/4 inches wide. And again, that now makes that 4 3/4 by 8. My Traveler's Notebook inserts are standard wide, so they are 5 by 8.25, which will give me a nice little white border all around the perimeter of my list. Like that. But I think I'll probably do it that way. Let me just look and see. So if I'm kind of going with those same, kind of that same look and feel, I will reverse these, because if I want to do a cluster of embellishments in that corner, I probably should do that on this side because it's less busy than this side. And I needed to figure that out before I started because I need to round those outside corners because that's what I do. My inserts have rounded corners, so I like to round the outside corners. Like so. Now what I'm going to do, I am going to work on this spread or my list off the page as opposed to adhering it right now and then kind of trying to work with it in there. Once I get a ways through my insert, I find it a lot easier to do this. If I'm not writing my list directly on the Traveler's Notebook insert itself, I will work off the page. So that's what we're going to do. All right, now I need white cardstock because the base of both of these will be, no, you know what? I am not going to use white cardstock. I am going to use, shall we do the grid? Yeah, I think we'll do the grid. So I have 2 different 6 by 8 paper packs. One is a grid, and the other one is a line. So I have pulled out the grid. So just a little bit more going on than a regular old piece of white cardstock, right? Let's see what size we would like those to be. We're just going to kind of eyeball it here. Maybe like that and like that. Let's see what that ends up being. That is going to be about 3 3/4 wide by, I bet it's about 7 inches tall. I'm going to say about 7 inches tall. 7 1/4, a little bit more. So 3 3/4 by 7 1/4. And I will do that here as well. 3 3/4 by 7 1/4. All right, I can still see the nice pattern in the color. Now, I am going to bring in some ink. And what color do I want to use? Let's see. I have pulled out, ooh, I think that might be it. We'll see. I pulled out my my swatches, my ink swatches. On these, I use the Swatch This Inks stamp set. So I've swatched all of my oxides because it's much easier to pull out my swatches when I am trying to match or somewhat match an ink color or a paper color as opposed to pulling out all of my different ink pads, right? So let's see, saltwater taffy. I think saltwater taffy. Abandoned coral would work as well. I don't know. Saltwater taffy, abandoned coral. Let's go with abandoned coral. So I'm going to ink the edges of those pieces of grid paper. That will help them stand out. Not stand out as much. I want them to actually blend in a little bit. What did I decide? Did I say? I don't remember now. Abandoned coral. Let's do abandoned coral. Was that the one I picked or not? I'm just looking for that behind me. Here it is. All right. So I have pulled out. Carol said abandoned coral for sure. Oh, good. And then she confirmed that's what I said. All right. So what I've done here, friends, this is one of my products. This is a storage solution for all of your little foam blenders. All right. So I have a different foam blender for all of my ink colors. So that's what all those little guys are. But the storage solution is the box. Is 2 sheets of whatever. I think we now do like maybe seven different ink brands. Each storage box will hold up to 40 of these little guys. So you have a sheet there and then one on the back. Also includes 40 pre-punched circles. Now, the circles are not already inked for you because I don't know what you have, right? So you buy the little storage kit and you have the pre-punched circles that you then ink up. You have the little, let me pull abandoned coral out. You have small little Velcro pieces that will hold your pieces in place. So this is one of Amy's amazing ideas. And so if you go see that on the website, she's also done a video with those little storage solutions pieces on how to go through the process of swatching all your inks and kind of getting that all ready to go. So this is about as mixed media as I get, friends, inking the edges. And I am just taking I took that little tool, the little handle, and I put the little dauber on there. And I am inking the edges. So that's going to just help it blend in a little bit more, right? It'll help it blend in a little bit more when we lay it back down. And those come in a couple of different, they either come with just the storage solution. There's another bundle that comes with the tool and the daubers. Then there is also, oh yeah, that works really well. That was a good call. That color's a good call. You won't notice it as much on this one, just because it's going to be pretty similar to what we're putting it on. Oh yeah, so these are the mini little foam pieces, but then there's also tiny foam pieces. There's a tiny, and that's what it's called. There's a tiny tool and then a tiny little foam heads or daubers or whatever you want to call it. So there's storage solutions for both of those. But if you are doing any kind of inking like this is a genius, and I can say genius because it wasn't my idea, it's Amy's, storage solution. Because prior to this, I just had these little guys that were just floating everywhere, and I didn't know what color was what. And knowing what color is what is really important. And I know you're like, well, duh, Lael. But the reason that's important, especially if you're using an oxide-based ink, or an oxide ink, which is a pigment-based ink, it is a blendable ink. And so if I take, let's say I take my abandoned coral little dauber and I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have one for candied apple. I'll just use candied apple on that as well because it's kind of the same thing. Well, they're blendable ink. So what's going to happen is you're going to get a mix here of candied apple and abandoned coral, which is probably not the color that you're looking for, right? So keeping them uncontaminated is important. So they should have their own little heads. But another reason they should have their own little heads, even if you're using abandoned coral, for example, the oxide version and the regular distress ink version, one is a dye-based ink, one is a pigment-based ink. They have different properties. So if you were cross-contaminating the properties, even with the same color, it's going to dilute or affect the properties of both of those inks independently, types of inks, because now you've kind of cross-contaminated. And that's all I'll say about that, because that's about all I know, because that's the only thing I use those for. All right. Let's go ahead and do our little outlining here. Because you know I have to do that on everything I do. And I think what I'll end up doing, since abandoned coral just works really well, I think I might just, with abandoned coral, I might just stamp my then and now even. I'm thinking I might just do that. And that is like the perfect match. You can't even see that. Like, look at, it's like perfect match. You can't even tell I did it on that side. But that's okay. So inking your edges like that just makes it a little bit of a softer transition from a stark white to whatever you're putting it on. Okay, so there we go. Let's get out a little stamping block. I have big ones and small ones out. Let's get a smaller one. How are we looking on time? Okay, we are good. So the list that we won't be getting to tonight is favorite childhood memories. So when we are together again listing, we will be together again listing on the 9th of November. We will do, we'll start off with that one first. Favorite childhood memories. All right. So let's go ahead and ink that up. Ooh, nice and juicy. Now, what I may need to do, I think I might need to come in, we'll see. I may need to clean that and re-ink, because the ink is pooling a little bit on there. I can see that the ink is pooling a little bit. Let's see. Yeah. See how I didn't quite get a complete impression there? I am going to, so I had a little bit of black on there. Now, the black on there was not affecting the color at all. What the black was affecting, I think, is how that ink was adhering to the stamp. So I'm going to really clean it. Again, that's why you should just clean your stamps right when you use them. I didn't clean those the last time. Wasn't affecting the color, but was affecting how the ink was kind of adhering. Now, super important part. I need to dry that off before I reapply ink. I am using a microfiber towel. I'm using a microfiber so it doesn't deposit any little fibers, right, on my stamp. But I want to dry that off thoroughly. The reason why I want to dry it is the ink I'm using is a pigment-based ink. It is water reactive. So if I don't completely dry that off, that ink is going to react with the water, and it is going to change slightly, or maybe a lot, just depends, how that ink looks, all right? So let's try it again and see. Better. Now I have some little bit of space in the E in the end, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. So let's, this is interesting. Ink that up again. And it is going on this piece, so I will do then. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer to me, just so I can see it a little better. Hope I didn't take that out of view. I hope that you could still see that. Oh yeah, you could. All right. Give it nice, even pressure. Woo! It's a beaut, Clark. I like it. It's a pretty color. It is a pretty color. All right, let's go ahead and just get this clean. Again, much easier to put your dishes in the dishwasher at the end of the night than get up in the morning and have the foods dried on, right? That's basically the same thing. We want to just clean that off while it's still easy to clean. All right, and then now we know we need to, we're going to clean now off. Even though it would not affect the color, it is affecting how that ink is adhering to the stamp. that nice and clean. Little elbow grease there. Can you hear the squeaking? All right, so then and now. Generally what I do when I do a then and now, I like to have some years in between, right? So when we had done then and now back in this one, there was a 5-year difference. So now was August of 2021, then would have been 2016. So I put 2016 there. 5-year difference, talking about just then this is what it was and now this is what it was. This version of then and now was totally different. This version of then and now was like back then we used to take a picture and we had to wait for it to be developed before we could see it. And now we could get instant gratification with digital camera or our phone. Back then, you had to wait for your favorite song to come on the radio, then press record. Now you have Pandora or Spotify. You can listen to what you want when you want. So a different version of then and now, but still kind of a then and now. Compare and contrast. All right, so there's my then. Now we should be good to, I don't think I dried that. And just make sure we get that nice and dry. Ink this guy up again. We'll test it because just always best to test. Always best to test. Carol said never knew what those splotches were on the stamped image. Yeah, so it's a couple of different things it can be, Carol. If you have not used your stamps before, they're brand new stamps. Those splotched images, kind of the splotches in your stamped image can be because you did not prime your stamp or condition it. So there's a little bit of residue still on the stamp from when it was manufactured. So that is important to get that off. So that can be one reason, but the other reason could be, get this closer to myself. The other reason could be that you didn't quite clean the stamp well enough. And so there's a little bit of residue on the stamp that is preventing the ink from completely kind of adhering. There we go. Then and now. That's super bright color, but I like it. I like it. So then and now, for me, there's a 4-year time span. This is kind of a fun one to do. Well, when you think about 4 years ago, 4 years ago, 4 years ago was 2020, October of 2020. Around that time, I think we had just gone into our second kind of lockdown shelter in place because of the pandemic. So there's a lot of things that have changed in my world in the last 4 years. So I thought it'd be fun to do one of these again. Where did those, we'll just put that over there, I guess. Okay, so now I am going to, let's go ahead and adhere these guys. You'll notice that I stamped those before I adhered. Sometimes I'll do that just in case something goes wrong with my stamping. Then I'm not trying to pry that back up. The other thing is sometimes, and it just depends a lot on the thickness of your paper, whatever you're stamping on, that the adhesive that you're using, if you're using a tape runner, sometimes it can make kind of a little bump, little space in your stamped image. A lot of that though has to do with the thickness of the paper that you're using. So if you're using thinner paper, you might see that more. Let's see, Carol said I often would clean the stamp and then use the eraser trick on it again before trying again to get rid of the splotches. Absolutely, Carol. Absolutely. If it doesn't work, I'd go back to the basics, right? Go back to the basics. Erase kind of with your little eraser, re-clean, make sure it's super clean and dry, and stamp again. That makes a lot of sense. Karen said, do inks expire? Are they still good as long as they don't dry out? That is a great question, Karen, and I don't know the answer. I assume that they're still good as long as they don't dry out. Amy, I don't know if Amy, if you know. Oh, there we go. Amy said ink doesn't expire, but they will need to be re-inked over time. And we've talked a little bit about re-inking before. So a lot of the manufacturers of stamping, of the stamping inks, make re-inkers. So like a liquid ink that you can use to re-ink a particular color. I have not played with that very often. The few times I've played with that, I have not had a lot of success. And I'm sure that's just me. And that's not me trying to sell you a new stamp pad. Please know that. I just have not had good success with it. The only time I've really tried it is with black, and it's not with the VersaFine that I use now. It was a black that I used in the past. It just didn't work very well. And I went and looked at some videos on how to do it, and it still didn't work very well. So I use black all the time. So periodically, I don't know, maybe once every year or 2 years, I just replace my black ink stamp pad, but I have never had to replace any of my oxides. Now, some of the colors I use more than others, but I've never had to replace or re-ink any. All right, so now before we get too far, let's figure out what we're decorating in this corner. Pull this big pile of goodness out here, and let's pull some washi out from the collection. Again, we are using Groovy Darlin from Jen Hadfield. Yep, you'll see that linked on the website. And I know Amy popped that in the chat a little bit ago. All right, so there's tons of stuff in here. I mean, there's lots of stickers and all kinds of things. So if we are just looking at, don't fall down. Don't fall down. What if we wanted to do, now this is a little bit of a different kind of, oh, I like that flower. I think we're going to use that. I think we're going to, not gonna. I think we're going to use that. Now, I would really like, oh, okay, I was going to say, I would really like some yellow washi to kind of go with this. So let's look at this. Let's look at this. I don't know though. Do I have one of those over here? Let me see. I don't think I do. Darn it, darn it. Would that one work? No, that's too much pink. I don't know where that is. Oh well, it's fine. All right, let's look at this. Don't mind me, I'm just like thinking out loud, looking for something. Amy said the trick to re-ink is not to over-ink the pads, and I'm sure that's probably what I did. I'm sure I thought, oh, if a little is good, a lot is better. Amy, I'll have to have you give me a lesson when I see you later this month or next month. I'll have to get a lesson on re-inking. All right, there's a little bit of washi there, just to pull in a little bit of yellow, because, you know, we've got a little bit of the yellow there. I do use a lot of yellow though, don't I? Oh, you noticed how I adhered that together with the washi, and then I'll just snip it. That way it's even, right? That way it's for sure even. So that goes there, but I feel like I need another washi next to it because that's just a little plain for my taste. I know this is going to be pretty groovy. This one is going to be pretty groovy. The drawers. So, Lisa, if you go to my website, lailbymail.com, and look for, I think like ink storage. I did a blog post a while ago, a couple of years ago, on how I store my inks. And it's with the IKEA. It's from IKEA, but it's the Kavessel. Is that what it's called? The Kavessel? I don't remember. They're little trays. They are trays that sit in a little, I don't know, thing. Here is one of the trays. And you can stack them like 2 deep. So you could do that. Stack them 2 deep and then the drawers can still open. But I think it's called the Kavessel. But you'll find that, just a blog post about that on my website. That's how I store mine. Vicky had talked about doing that, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And I thought, I like that. That's a good idea. I want to do that. And so I did. Because you know what? It's so funny, you guys. For a lot of us, it's the sorting and organizing all of our things that is half the fun, right? Okay, maybe not half the fun, but part of the fun. It's part of the fun. Okay, so now what I need to do, I need 2020 and 2024. So I do believe, let me look, if I have a 2020, let's see. I do not. So, I'm just going to write it in. I was looking for a stamp. I'm just going to write it in. So, if I do, we'll just write it in right here. 2020 and then 2024. All right, so it's not necessarily specific to October. It's just maybe kind of in general 2020. You do you. You decide how you want to do that. All right, so now, hello, Marilee. Nice to see you. Good evening. All better late than never. Nice to see you. Yes, welcome to the Friday night party. Lisa said she's not usually a pink fan, but she is loving the layout. Jennifer said she was going to pre-cut her papers for December documented, and all she's done tonight is organize my dies onto magnet sheets. But you know what, Jennifer? Did you have fun doing it? I bet you did, so that's all that matters, right? Like I said, that fun little organizing and reorganizing, we kind of tend to like that. Those of us that like to do these kind of things also tend to like to organize our things, and it's just part of the fun, I think. Okay, so now let's go back and look at our inspiration. What does our inspiration look like? All right, so we had done something over here. We probably wanted something to balance it out. We want a little something over here. And then we just used a little bullet stamp. So when we look at, let's look at maybe, let's say the sticker book. Sticker book. You know what is jumping out at me? Those little mushrooms. Let's see what those look like. That looked fun. The little mushrooms, a little cluster of mushrooms. Let's see, this guy. These are going to be clear stickers. So some of the stickers in the sticker pack, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to like that, are clear stickers. So I need something that's nice and solid like that. So we will not use clear sticker on there. Let's go back to our sticker sheet. Oh, look it! There's my little guys, the same little guys that I was thinking were kind of cute. Could they come over here? I think they could. Look at it. That's cute. There we go, then and now. All right. Oh, you know what we could have a lot of fun with? What if we bring the green in again? The green. Let's go back to bullets and more. And I think we would like to use this little guy. There's a lot kind of going on here, so my bullets could be pretty simplified-ish. Ooh, did I put that other one back? Where is the stamping stylus? This is the danger of not putting my things away. Aha. Most important of all, when it comes to putting your stamps away, is these little, the little bullet stamps. They will run away from you. You will lose them. So don't do what I did and forget to put that back. Put those back again. Just get in the habit, right? Clean your things, put them away, and then move on to the next thing. Do as I say, not as I do. All right, so now my stylus, I'm not worried about how I'm putting this little bullet stamp on there because it's the same no matter how I stamp it. All right, where's our green? Where is our green? Did I put it away? Nope. I did not. All right, so we want to test that first. So we'll grab our, just grab my little listing notebook here. That could be fun to use. This is going to be pretty colorful. It's pretty colorful. We're doing it. Okay, then. So back in 2020, this time of year, we were sheltering in place really for the second time. For the second time during the pandemic. And when I say second time, almost like the second phase, right? All right. Over here, we are traveling often. We have Harvey, the RV. We were one of those people that did that, bought during the pandemic, which not a good idea because the value was the price was sky high back then. The value has since dropped, but we enjoy it. We've loved it. We have Harvey the RV and are headed to Montana this weekend, this weekend. Well, for the week, I guess. So there's a then and now. Compare and contrast, right? So then here we have, what's the next thing on my list? Back then, Jack, who is our older son, Jack, was single, living in Tacoma. Now, Jack is engaged to Kat, his fiance, still living in Tacoma. So this type of list, I wish that I'd been listing for a really long time, because wouldn't it be fun? Well, you can still go back and do this. Like our boys, Jack is 27, Sam is 24. So when you look at a then versus now, how different were things back then when they were toddlers versus now? How different were things like when I was in high school or college or in starting my career? How different were things then versus now? So your then versus now, I think, is kind of fun to do your little compare and contrast. You could do then versus now in your city, your state, in your house. You could even do right? Maybe you've been in your home for a lot of years. And so back then it'd be really fun to bring in photos, right? You could do a then 1960 and a then and now 2020 and have photos of like the cars in the 60s and at least in the 70s, the shag rug carpet and the avocado green appliances versus the now. So you can have a lot of fun with a list like this, even if it's not, pertaining to you. All righty. Back then, Sam was attending Utah State University, ... online due to the pandemic, right? And now Sam is in his third year of electrician school. And finishing his tests to be a residential journeyman. So things have changed quite a bit in that side of Sam's life. Hello, Carla. Nice to see you. And hello, Stephanie. Nice to see you as well. Carol said 2020 was such a strange year, right? For sure. And something like that is particularly, there's a lot of things you can pull out to a then because it was such a different year, right? All right. Back then, I had a website and was offering project kits by mail. So back in October of 2020, I had no product. I had no mail by mail product. Now, I still have a website, right? Now, I have more than 150 of my own Lail by Mail branded products. Which is insane. Insane, insane, insane. If you had told me back in 2020 that 4 years I would be writing that, I would have asked you what you were smoking. That's how far out of my view, or that just never in a million years would have even hit my, I just would have told you were crazy. And look, here we are. And I say we because that is as much you guys as it is me. There is no way. And really, that's an example of, some businesses thrived or grew, not even thrived, but grew during the pandemic. And mine was one of those, but that's because of you guys, because you were here with me every Saturday. We were listening, we were laughing, we were crying, we were doing whatever we could to get our mind off of what was happening in the world. And then look what came out of that, which is just so much, just means so much to me, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Leah said, question, Lael, is the plan on it weekly book the same that you use for your idea book? The one you use as a sketch layout idea? It is not. My plan on it is basically my planner. Okay, so that's what that's obviously yours wouldn't look like that, but that's my planner. So basically, it is a weekly planner. And I made this a couple years ago because I couldn't find a planner that I liked. This is how I do things. Here's my calendar. Here's the things that need to happen on the days. And then these are just the things that I have to get done that week. So I started using this and then put it out there for people to purchase, or even just buy you can buy it bound or just buy it digitally and have one sheet and make your own. That is what the plan on it is, Leah. This is what I use here for planning all of our sessions. This is the Listing with Lael workbook. Okay. Now on mine, I just took a piece of pattern paper and basically covered the little squirrel on there because I just wanted something a little bit more, a little bit more decorative. But that's what this is. And in that workbook, you can either buy it digitally or you can buy it pre-printed and bound for you. But this is what I use to plan all of our sessions. And I never in a million years thought that people would want to use that. So I just had one done for me I put it all together and had one done for me at FedEx Kinko's and paid an insane amount of money, like $65 to have them do it, which was crazy. But now I do my own. So yeah, you can, you'll see those on my website as well. But Leah, that's the difference between those two. That is the difference between those two. All right. So where are we now? Oh yeah, so back then, and this was kind of this later in the year of 2020, Jack, our older son, Jack had come home. Jack had moved home for a few months because Washington State was extremely locked down. And Jack was living by himself. And he did that in April for the first lockdown. and really struggled. So when that happened again, kind of in the fall of 2020, he said, I can't do that again. This will not end well. I can't do that again. So we said, come home. He came home, he drove home, he worked for my brother-in-law in construction, so it was outside and it was great. So Jack came home for months back then. And then at the same time, Sam moved out. Which was funny because I actually have a photos, literally in the hallway, the entryway in our house. Jack is coming in with a big armful of things, and Sam is walking next to him, moving things out. So it's kind of fun. All right, Sam moved out. Now, Jack is living in Tacoma. And Sam is back with us for a few months, as he is waiting. Our nephew just bought a house, and so that's going through the closing and all that. So then Sam will move out. So then and now. And that is, I think, I don't know, as you have adult children, that can maybe tend to happen on and off. Your kids are coming in and out and back and forth, which is fun. We've so enjoyed having Sam home for these last couple of months. It's been a lot of fun. All right, back then, we had Poe, our cat, Poe. Now, we have Sam's cat, Reggie. And that is not just because Sam is with us. Reggie is now our adopted cat, pretty much. All right, last thing on my list. Back then, my dad, well, we moved him. Dad had moved to Utah and was living on his own in a condo. And now, Dad, I don't really have room to write Dad has Alzheimer's and living in assisted living. So I'll say Dad is living in an assisted living facility. All right, so there's my then and now. I have a little bit of extra room over here, right? So what do I say? What do I say when we have some space and it looks like something needs to be added, but we are not sure what we should add there? What comes to the rescue? What comes to the rescue is a word strip sticker. Word strip sticker is going to go right there. So let's put this little guy away. I'd say there's rarely a list that I do that does not have a bullet stamp on it, one way or the other. Word strip sticker, right, Ms. L? She's got it. She's got it. So, let's talk about what happened there. Let's use this as a learning opportunity very quickly. So when I went to put that sheet of stamps back in its little stamp storage sleeve, my star fell off. Now, number one, they're pretty small stamps, so there's not a lot of surface area for them to grip to. But what also happens is your stamps over time, the back sides of them will get dirty. They'll get lint or hair, just dust, whatever, on the back of them. So when they won't stick either to your stamp sheet or to the stamping block, clean off the back, right? That's all I did. I cleaned off the back with my little chamois. I'm going to do it with this little guy too because it came off as well. And then they will stick nicely again. And that will happen both on your stamp sheet as well as your stamping block. And you just don't want to lose them. But the other thing is you don't want them to fall off your stamping block when they're inked up and land on your project. But if it happens, you just figure out how to work with it, right? You just make it work. All right, so word strip sticker. Word strip stickers are my jam. So let's take a look at I don't know, small talk is probably what I use most often. I have a couple of different word strip sticker, word strip stickers and then also word strip sticker books on the website. So let's see. We just need something little to go right in there. Adventure awaits you. Let's see. Adventure awaits you. That would work, right? Let's look. Adventure awaits you. There we go. So look at. That's just what I needed to fill in that little space right there. Just needed a little something, something. So we'll just put that right there. There we go. Alrighty, let's go ahead and add this to our traveler's notebook. Add it to our traveler's notebook. Oh, that is fun. Now, what's interesting, friends, sometimes I do more sketching than others as I'm preparing. So that was my sketch. You can tell that was my sketch for In the News. My stuff for In the News, because we were going to do it back on the 12th. I had my list back on the 12th. But here, there's my little typewriter. There's my library cards. There's my photo. And then I was originally thinking of doing that half circle and a whole circle, but then that whole side would get lost. So there's my sketch. That's pretty representative of what I was going to do. Here, this is my sketch for favorite childhood memories. So that we will start off with when we're listing again on the 9th. But look at my then and now. There's no sketch whatsoever other than 2020-24. But I really didn't need to do a sketch for that because remember when we started, I said my inspiration is going to be that list that we did back in April of 2022. So I didn't really need a sketch. All right, so let's go ahead and adhere our list into our insert. Now, I use my Traveler's Notebook to do this, right? You guys know Traveler's Notebooks are my jam. That's kind of what I do most of my paper crafting or memory keeping or scrapbooking, whatever you want to call it in. But you could do this in anything, all right? You could do this in anything. You could do this 12 by 12 scrapbook page. You could do this in a composition book. You could do it in a spiral notebook. I say really all that you need in order to do what we do, something to write with and something to write on. So basically a piece of paper and a writing instrument. Beyond that, you don't have to have anything else. I mean, the other stuff is fun, but you don't have to have it, right? The whole point of doing all of this is to tell your story. This is a story, right? All of the lists that I do are a story. This is a story about news events in September and August. This is a story about some of my favorite movie quotes. This is a story about what I love about fall in Utah. This is a story of controversies, but they're fun controversies, right? Like candy corn or Mac versus PC or Coke versus Pepsi. So all of these lists that we do are stories. And if you decide to take it that way, it's your story. So it's telling your story in a way that you probably haven't told before, but also still gives you the opportunity to play with the fun things if you want to play with the fun things. But something to write with, something to write on. That's all that you need to do anything like this. Okay, friends, so I am going to, I'm going to call it. I am going to call it. So there's not enough time really even for us to start our third list yet. I don't want to we have about 15 minutes, and I don't really want to start and then have to stop. So it's easier for us not to start. I'm going to turn off those lights, we'll flip the camera, and we'll say our goodbyes until we meet again. So let's talk about when we'll meet again. Flipping the camera now. Yes, thank you for the reminder, Elise. Please, friends, if you have not already liked the video, please like the video. That's so helpful. It's so helpful. Okay, we're pretty much, we're good. Oh, I forgot to say, we have 2 giveaways tonight. So one of the giveaways we did live, right? And Lisa Washburn, no, she didn't. Lisa won from last time. Dina 3090 won our live giveaway tonight, which was the October 31st mini book project kit. Now, if you didn't win that, but you would like it, still have them on the website, so you can go see that on the website, lailbymail.com. That's the October 31st mini book project kit. So that was the live giveaway that we did, but we also are going to do a after party giveaway, which means anyone can participate, whether you are here live or whether you're watching the replay. And that prize is not the one that I used. You get your nice unused version, brand new, but that Opposites Attract stamp set, okay? Opposites Attract stamp set, which is what I used in that then and now list. So the way you participate in that giveaway is you want to leave a comment on the video when it's over. So not here in the chat, leave a comment on the video when it's over. And when we're listing again, which is Saturday, November 9th, right before we start, I will draw a random comment from the comments left on this video. And that will be the person that wins that Opposites Attract stamp set. Okay, friends, so some of you I may be seeing on Saturday, November 2nd. Saturday, November 2nd, the reason we're not listing is because that is the day that we are doing my December Documented Mini Book Project Kit class. So if you ordered that kit, you should have received an email. You'll receive a reminder later this week. You'll receive a reminder later this week or next week, you know what I mean? Just so you make sure to remember. But we'll be doing Saturday, November 2nd. What even day is it? Saturday, November 2nd, we will be doing that class. Now, if you're like, what are you talking about? Go to my website and search for December Documented. It's my biggest project kit I do every year, and it is very soft spot in my heart. But there's still time to order that. And if you order it sooner than later, my shipping team, who will be still shipping while I am gone, will get that out to you. So you should have it in time. If you don't get it in time, it's okay, because you can just watch the replay. So if I don't see you on Saturday, November 2nd for that December Documented class, I hope to see you here on Saturday, November 9th for our regular 9 a.m. listing session. Let me quickly take a look at the chat just so I can see if I missed anything, and then we'll say our goodbyes until then, friends. Let's see. Thank you, Jody. Said have a wonderful trip. 111 Renee's, congratulations. She won't be joining us because her oldest son is getting married, or youngest son. Very exciting. Congratulations. We will have fun on our trip, Karen. We're going to Montana in Harvey, and mostly for fun, but we're also working. So it'll be interesting. We've never tried to work while we're on the road like that. So we kind of need to give that a test run. Thanks, Marilee, my little ghosty earrings. Amy, thank you for hanging out with us. I'm curious, you guys, if it helped having Amy share the links with you, so you could find things maybe a little bit more easily. That was the plan. Because Amy will be continuing with us. Yeah, she will continue doing that with us when she can. Let's see. Oh, Joy Ellen, oops, had a small stove fire. That's yikes. I hope everything's okay. Yikes. I mean, I'm sure it is if you told us, but yikes. Diane, I'm glad you're here watching as well. She said, glad to be back watching with you. We're listing again on November 9th, Karen, the Saturday. Amy did a wonderful job. Yes, she's like I tell you, right hand. She's my right hand. Right hand and left hand and half my brain at least and all the things. She's awesome. So thank you, Amy. All right, friends, I'm going to head out and hope to see you at some point soon here in the future. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a great rest of your week. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.